So, hey everybody, welcome to another outdoor lifestyle podcast. This is podcast number whatever, I can't even remember now, but we've got a few of them under our belt, and we're just going to keep going. We reached out to lots of different people from all over Canada, and today I'm really happy to have as our guest a gentleman called Adam Jansen from the Jansen Group. Now, if you follow Outdoor Lifestyle on Instagram or Facebook, you'll have definitely seen us sharing projects from this company, because they're always posting great content. And if you want to have a look at some great work, just go to their website. It's honestly, it's amazing. They've got a projects tab there. Had a look through it, and it's pretty neat. Great work, and we'll get into that with Adam. So without further ado, welcome to the podcast today, Adam Jansen.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Oh, no problem at all. I think it's a great time to chat, and we're so happy to have somebody from Edmonton, Alberta on the podcast. So we're venturing out west. It's great. We're spreading our wings. It's awesome.
Yeah, and just to qualify one thing, I did grow up in Ontario, so
whatever it's worth for the Ontarians, wherever it's worth. Well, we'll get into that. Well, I'd love to know a little bit more about your company. The people who are listening would as well, I'm pretty sure. But before we kind of get into that, why don't you tell us a little bit about, it's always fascinating to hear how people get into this particular industry, as we call it, the outdoor lifestyle industry. So talk to us a little bit about, how you did you fall into it? You just said you grew up on a farm, I think, in Ontario, is on your website. So why don't you give us a little bit of background on that and tell us the journey you had, because journeys are interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually grew up in a really small town called Meaford, Ontario. If anybody's familiar with the Georgian Bay area, that's my hometown. So I was in high school, and the guidance counselor said you could go work and still get your education credits under a co-op program. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I looked at kind of the options for industries and different things available. And there's a company in Thornbury, you probably never heard of them before. They're called the Landmark Group. They're one of the goats, right? What they say nowadays.
Definitely.
So I was very fortunate at 16 years old to start working for free.
Experience.
Yeah. And I just fell in love with landscaping, and it is to some degree related to growing up on a farm and working with plants and just being outside. So it was a good fit. But as high school was nearing an end, my parents were like, "Oh, you don't want to be a landscaper. Your back will be shot by the time you're 40. You should do something different." So I said, like, what? And so my parents were like, "Oh, you should get into policing." So,
wow.
So that's what I did.
Wow.
And spent some time as an Alberta sheriff out here in Alberta, and then ended up coming full circle.
So what did you when you became a police officer? You're with the sheriff's department. You're a young man, but you have had that landscape experience working outdoors. You did love it. Your parents kind of steered you a different way. Good for them. Good bit of wisdom. I mean, how long did you work for the sheriff's department, and did you end up? What pulled you out, or is it always in the back of your mind that you wanted to be landscaping, or what way did that work?
Yeah, so it was kind of by fluke, by chance, I guess. I don't know. So I worked for the sheriff's department for about 7 years, and I was nearing that 10-year mark, and you kind of have to make a decision. I feel like if you're going to be there over 10 years, you're that far into your pension, you might as well just stick. And you have to book all your vacation like a year in advance for the whole year. And I totally forgot that I had 2 weeks of vacation in the middle of, I think it was actually April or May, so right at the beginning of landscaping season. So my wife was working, so I had nothing to do. So I thought, well, maybe I'll put an ad on Kijiji build some decks. I don't know, do some work on the side, and it was crazy. It just within 10 minutes of posting the ad, somebody called me, and
Right.
and so I went to go meet with this person. And I mean, I've never run a business before. I've never quoted anything before. I think I showed up with like a notepad from like a hotel that we stole at a little, and no tape measure, nothing. And it was actually a fairly sizable job. And the lady must have thought I was an idiot. Like, here I am stepping this off with my feet counting, you know. I look back now and it's quite humbling.
Yeah.
And it just became kind of a weekend evening
Yes.
after, moonlighting. And within a few years, my wife gave me the ultimatum, and she said, like, I never see you. It's you got to pick one or the other. And I loved landscaping. Like, I always have. It's always been a passion of mine. So I just kind of jumped off that cliff, and
it's really interesting.
Open, yeah.
So your story is resonates, and I have heard that story from quite a few people in the industry. Seems to be a kind of a common path where people can get into landscaping, with a shovel and a truck. Let's be honest, right? As you just said, you showed up with a notebook from a hotel or something, right? So I mean, that's the good thing about it, and kind of the bad thing about it as well, because you do get people, not you, obviously, you're a true professional, but you do get fly-by-nights who kind of do it on the side and don't really take it seriously. And so there is that negative connotation to it. But I think at the same time, if you do it right, it can be a great side hustle. And then it just seems, your story I've heard before of people doing it on the weekends, doing it in the evenings, and then it growing to a size that ultimately they were kind of the size of it and the growth would kind of force their hand to give up the day job and make that their day job. So was that like a scary kind of like for you, because you're sitting there with the paycheck, right? You're working for a government funded, taxpayer funded job, and then it's like, okay, now I'm going to work for myself, right? How was that? How did that process go in terms of, how did you feel?
Terrifying. I'll be real with you.
Yeah,
it was terrifying, and I think any business owner, regardless of the industry, that's had a similar experience would be lying if they said it was terrifying. And because I had a wife and a baby on the way.
Oh wow, great timing.
Yeah, exactly. I have a mortgage. Is this going to work out? So yeah, it was terrifying, but if you don't take that jump, if you kind of dabble and don't take it seriously, you can do a side hustle and you can do a few things, but if you want to be a legitimate business, you have to take that jump.
Yeah, I got you. And how long did it take you? So when you transitioned, you left the police behind and you're in this brave new world of chasing the business and stuff like that. How did you cope like that kind of first year? And talk a little bit about, we always talk in this industry about seasonality. So how did you kind of cope with the highs and lows of that, and revenue over a year? So especially in the beginning, I'm talking about.
Yeah. So in the beginning, a lot of hard lessons learned.
Yeah.
Again, right? I didn't go to school for business, so you learn as you go, and you realize that we didn't make any money on that job or whatever. But it was a roller coaster for sure. So let's go. We're talking probably 2012. Okay. So we're post the 2008 down.
Yep.
Oil prices in Alberta, have a major impact on the economy here. They have gone down, but they're not. We haven't seen. It was not the decline that we're seeing kind of now, right?
Okay.
So things are still booming. So I had no problem getting work. There was tons of work out there.
Good.
So yeah, it was a roller coaster for the first year. And to be totally transparent, there was a lot of times when would be payroll week, and
Yep.
and I'm thinking, how would we payroll, and
Yep.
a couple of checks would come in,
Yep.
and we would. So
Yep. It just works out. But I think it's, you know, a testament to anybody who's been in the position, and it's never easy. And as you rightly said, establishing any business is kind of tough, and a little bit of learning on the job. You're going to make mistakes. You're absolutely going to make mistakes. The key is not repeating the mistakes and not making huge mistakes that are going to
yeah,
cost you, right? But I think, you know, perseverance is a big thing, and it's kind of like, you know, it's in that the dead of the night, you know, those moments when you kind of go, what the hell am I doing? And then you kind of your entrepreneurial brain, I feel, kind of takes over with people and kind of says, no, it's okay, it's okay. You're good at what you do. I think is huge. You have expertise, and people want to pay you for good work. I mean, it's the same in our business. We're marketing. You know, it's the same
yeah,
thing. You know, I think that's kind of a common thread with lots of people we speak to and lots of people we come across. If you do good work, especially in the landscape business, you do great work, you just get a great reputation. And
yes.
you know, so tell us a little bit about kind of zooming forward a little bit to your business now, because, you know, as I said, I just did my bit of research on the website and stuff like that, which is quite informative, and it just looks like, you know, you've got a ton of work on there. Like, you know, I can click into so many different projects. So kudos for you for being a good marketer first and foremost, and for actually making the effort to say, here's our work, because it's great, because a customer can go on there, prospective customer, and have a look. And in my mind, if I was a prospective customer, I'd be saying, yeah, these guys know their stuff, right? These guys, you know. So tell us a bit about kind of the range of work you do, because I just see so many different types of job. I mean, you know, try and tell us a little bit about what you cover, maybe a little bit about the company, how many people and stuff like that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so when we're fully staffed up for the landscaping season, we have anywhere from 25 to 30 people. So we're not a huge company, but you know, big enough. And our passion, like a lot of people in the industry, we love that custom design build stuff, right? That stuff that's not the everyday kind of work. So we really seek those types of projects out. And we really try to encourage our customers to think outside the like the traditional landscaping, and, you know, so there's other options. And so when you talk about the variety of projects, you know, it could be something from something very modern, like last year we did a really modern tile patio with a Swiss pergola that we had to have shipped across the ocean. And
Wow.
yeah, it was quite elaborate, but very modern.
When you say tile, are you talking about like those porcelain pavers, like the?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Like that sit on the pedestals and stuff like that. Those type of ones. Got it.
Yeah. So something from that, very clean, very modern, very kind of Greek, to like last year, I just posted a story. We did a job where we brought some armor stone from Ontario out and tried to essentially recreate the Muskokas out here. Very natural stone, natural style landscaping. So yeah, this is kind of whatever fits the project and the customer likes. Yeah.
So a question I would have for you is, in terms of the types of properties in Edmonton, are you doing work in the cities, in the burbs, you know, the suburbs, or is it outside? Do people have, you know, bigger expanses of land out there? What's the mix there?
Yeah, it's all over the map. So the city of Edmonton right now is, I think, trying to control urban sprawl, and so they are really encouraging these infill projects. So these mature neighborhoods that need to be revitalized. So location is great. You know, if you work downtown, you can't beat the location. Mature trees on the street, the houses are tired. So a lot of people are buying these, tearing them down, and building quite really nice homes on these properties. The lot sizes are huge compared to a new lot kind of thing.
Got it. Yeah.
So we'll work on something like that, which would be like, fairly close to downtown, that kind of thing. And then burbs, yeah, of course, there's always lots of
Yeah.
things happening. And then acreage properties, there's some large acreage properties kind of outskirts. And we travel too. Like we've got some projects that are 3 to 4 hours away from home base for us. Yeah. So,
well, I guess
yeah.
I guess in somewhere like Alberta, it's pretty kind of spread out and stuff like that. You have to get in your car sometimes and rack up some miles to do some business, eh?
Yeah. Well, for us, it's not. It's more so, is this a good project for us?
Okay.
And,
Right. So you're not just going to travel for anything. It's not like just, it's like you're very selective in terms of, does it fit your kind of your style and your expertise, I suppose?
Yeah, that and quite often those types of projects are referrals, right, from some other clients. So we want to make sure they're looked after, kind of thing.
Yeah, got it. So in terms of you guys and zooming, going to fast forward to where we are today, when we're still in the middle of this a pandemic, this crazy pandemic. And Ontario, I think, I can't remember if construction, I think came back a couple of weeks ago properly, fully. So companies are out there, albeit in a kind of a, safe manner and stuff like that. How has it been for you guys? How long are you back, and how has it changed in terms of how you're doing business? How has it impacted your business, the pandemic?
Yeah, for sure. So in Alberta, they never shut construction down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The messaging was you can continue to operate as long as you're following social distancing, have protocols in place. And I know for a lot of companies, us included, if there was ever going to be a good time for a pandemic, being on the shoulder season of snow removal and landscaping is probably about the best time it could have happened. It would be much worse if it was in the middle of the landscaping season or something like that. So we were kind of in that transition phase anyway, transitioning snow removal and getting the season started up.
Yes.
But major changes for our company in the sense of a lot of our office staff have asked to continue working from home. Right, we had everybody out of the office working from home, which never would have happened before. And so it works well. Like, when you really think about it, like they don't really need to be here every day. So I think for them, it's actually improved the quality of life a little bit. I mean, some of them are commuting an hour each way. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's been a fundamental shift across the labor in general for lots of companies. I think from talking to different people, it's evident that a lot of employers previously just, not that they didn't trust their staff, they just didn't trust home working. They just didn't think, not that they think people would, waste time and stuff like that. They just thought that people couldn't work as well at home, and it kind of turns out really in the end of the day that good people will always just do good work, and that's it. And you don't have to worry about them. If you're worried about people at home, sitting having a cup of coffee, that you've got the wrong people. There's something wrong with them, or there's something wrong with you, as far as I'm concerned, right? So I think that's a huge shift. It's pushed a lot of employers force their hand a bit, but I think from anecdotally speaking, a lot of employers are actually pleasantly surprised, and people have gotten used to working from home. Even if they're not 5 days at home, they're several days at home. As you just said there, it's quality of life. They're not in a car, commuting, coming back. They're more flexible, and yeah, I'm so happy to hear that it's worked out positively for you, because that seems to be what's in general what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right. Like our staff, like my office manager mentioned to me, that she's working 10 hours a day and she needs to get back to a normal schedule. And I had no idea she was doing that. Not that there was ever any question, but I think the research has shown that sometimes people actually work harder when they're home. I've never had any personal experience with that until just recently. In our case, it's been fantastic. Like there's been no concern with that at all. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's really, yeah, it's just a big sea change. Another big change, obviously, is in companies um, using digital, so online, either to sell their products. So a lot of companies who would not have touched e-commerce previously, again, just forced their hand, and they're now embracing that. So we're seeing a big increase in that type of business, and also, digital marketing, social media, and stuff like that. Our outdoor lifestyle numbers have kind of gone through the roof because people are literally sitting there saying, right, I need to see some really great stuff and I need to research. And so our Pinterest is going crazy. Everything's going really crazy. So I think that's kind of been a kind of a positive side effect, I suppose, as well, which is really good. So in terms of your, just going back to your kind of changed environment, in terms of being on site and construction, is it slowing you down a little bit? Is it just a matter of getting the right protocols in place? How are you handling that?
Yeah. So it hasn't. I don't think it's slowed us down that way. It's yeah, definitely implementing the right protocols, making sure we're following everything that the chief medical officer is recommending. But just the nature of landscaping, it's quite easy to do that.
True.
Especially if you have a decent sized site, you can spread out. Everybody can be working on different tasks. We have hand sanitizer stations set up, masks. It's not as challenging as some other industries
Yes.
where you have a
Yes.
kitchen full of cooks that are working side by side. It'd be a lot.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. You can imagine even an office environment where 100 people on a floor, all the
Yeah,
desks crammed and stuff like that. That's terrible. And canteen where everybody
yeah,
goes. Those big challenges there, huge challenges. But yeah, landscape was one that it's kind of interesting. I spoke to a gentleman called Sam Gamble from Atlas Outdoor in Michigan. He's in Flint, Michigan, and they were shut down as well, but they were kind of itching to get back because they lobbied and they were saying, well, look, our industry, as you just said, they echoed what you just said. Our industry, by its very nature, is one where we could have two guys on a site or maybe three guys on a site. They're not really generally huddled in together. One's on a machine, one's in a hole, So yeah, so I think it was great for the construction industry, especially the landscape construction industry in Ontario, which was it was terrible. It was shut. It was done. No jobs. The industry ground to a halt. So I think that's kind of that's been great. So tell us a little bit about, just to give you some kind of again, we talk to a lot of people and have a lot of contacts. And a lot of people are saying, for instance, in the pool industry, that the kind of the activity and the sales. It's obviously pools usually book generally a year ahead, maybe, type of thing. If you're a good pool company, you should be booked really for this season and booking for next season, the season after. And what we're hearing is that a lot of people in the pool business are really, really busy. They're trying to catch up, but they're booking ahead. Bookings
yeah,
are up. The industry is up, and there's a general sense. And with that, obviously, landscape goes up as well, right? Because for every pool you're doing, or whatever. So what it looks like at the moment, talking to some manufacturers as well, paving manufacturers, companies like that, is that everybody's going to get through this year, try and catch up and do the jobs you were meant to do, but it looks kind of positive next year, where the trend towards staycationing kind of takes hold. Are you seeing any of that? Are you feeling any of that out there in the air?
yeah. No, it's good you brought that up. I can't remember a year where we've struggled to get plant material. You go to any nursery garden center in the Edmonton area, it is a zoo. It's nuts. Uh, the owners are having a hard time getting stock. Partly I know that they put their orders in, say in January, February. They canceled their orders because of this whole COVID thing.
Got it.
Things are trying to open back up again. Then they're reorder all those things as every other place was. So there's been a shortage on plant material. But even like the landscape supply centers, Lowe's, Home Depot, the amount of people, homeowners that are doing these projects, they call them COVID projects.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
uh, for me personally, I do a lot of the sales here, and I've had a few clients who've said, yeah, we were saving some money to go to Disneyland, or
Yes.
we're going to, that's not happening anymore. So we decided to invest this money in our backyard, which is fantastic for the industry. But yeah, out here, I'm sure it's very similar in
Yes.
Ontario.
Yes, absolutely. Just a
Yeah.
lot of people looking, kind of spending so much time at home. I've got some friends who are interior designers and stuff like that. And when you spend a lot of time at home with family who you don't generally share the space with, suddenly you realize, there are things about the space you live in that aren't really set up correctly in terms of rooms, usage, basements, stuff like that. So there's a whole focus on that as well. So if anything good has come out of it, and I know people have lost their lives, so there's nothing good about the pandemic as such, just to preface that. But in terms of a lot of businesses have been damaged, but I think the outdoor lifestyle industry, is going to be it's a fact that the market's going to be strong going forward, and hopefully we get through this, and everybody gets through it in terms of the economy. I think it hopefully will kind of come back strong.
Yeah. In terms of the economy, there are some uncertain times, and probably roads ahead. It's when you have oil trading at negative dollars a barrel.
Crazy. Like they'll pay you to take the oil. Here's some money, take some oil. Crazy.
Yeah, so that has a major effect on economy. But in general, like for us, things have been steady.
Yeah,
so.
But you just got to crack on, though, right? I mean, in terms of, I always feel that if you get too caught up in, life is life, and reality is, as you just said, if the oil price goes to X and Y and interest rates and all these things that do affect us, absolutely. But I think if you get caught up in the news, in all the negativity, there's positivity out there as well, and you really have to make sure you're not just exposing yourself to all the negative stuff. You have to make sure that you're looking for the positive as well, and that's what we're even trying to do with these podcasts. We're like, there's lots of people out there who kind of want to talk, and who are have some challenges and stuff like that, but we want to spread good news, right? We want to spread the positivity. I think it's important right now. I think it's there's a lot of negativity around, so I think it's good to spread the positivity, right?
Well, and I think that there's a major opportunity as business owners and business leaders to really show that there's proof in the pudding when you say you care about your staff, you care about your team.
That's a great point.
We were fortunate enough that we didn't have to lay anybody off. I made that decision very quickly after I had a chat with my finance guy, and we figured that we'd be okay to at least for the next couple months. And I said, okay, we're not laying anybody off. So
good.
I think from employee standpoint, that'll go a long way down the road to know that you're cared for, you matter, you're not just a number. And I think a lot of business owners made that decision if they could. So I think that's a huge opportunity for us right now in the industry.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a very good, really, really good point across lots of industries. I think a lot of companies showed their real culture, and if they did it well, you're right, they'll get that loyalty back in spades. And people felt that. People felt, does my employer care for me, or are they just throwing me to the wolves, or wherever it was, and you felt a lot of that negativity, and for some vulnerable people out there, and it was tough. But then you've seen a lot of other people talking about how their employer was just like, here's what we're going to do to protect you, to look after you. Here's the trust we have in you. So I think that's separated that as well. So I think that's a great thing, and it's good for you that you could hang on to your staff, because it's not easy to get great people. So if you've got great people, you want to hang on to those. You don't see those drift off, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it's the same in Ontario. It is incredible.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, it's an industry that needs new blood, fresh blood. It's great money to be made by Landscape Ontario. I know you're involved in Landscape Alberta, I think. There's a lot of Landscape Ontario always putting out information about, how the landscape business is a great career. It's rewarding. You're outside trying to get young people to take a little bite of it so they get the bug, right? So, which is great, which is like what happened to you and a lot of other people. And it's great money to be made at it. It's a well-paid job, and it's a healthy job, and it's very fulfilling. So so I think that's a good strategy by you to keep. You got to keep the good people, because there's not lines of people out there banging on the door, right?
No, there's not.
Well, listen, this has been great to talk to you. I'm going to, wrap things up now by saying that definitely I and lots of our team here lots of our writers and stuff like that, definitely fans of your work. Just some work just kind of pops out and you're going to go, oh, look at this one, and you're one of those companies that we see your work and we just say we got to share this. And we get like a great reaction from our audience, on Facebook, Instagram, our website, and stuff like that. So if it's okay with you, we keep sharing your great work. Keep posting it, and we'll keep sharing it.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome, no problem at all. So it's been great to talk to you. So I don't know. All I can say is sounds like you've got things under as much control as you can, and well done, and stay safe out there, and watch out for this video. We'll post it over the next week or so. We'll let you know, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you today.
Yeah, thanks,
Evan.
Yep.
Awesome. Take care. Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.